Looking forward to the third test match, August the 25th, England versus India. Home side, of course, looking to bounce back after defeat at Lord's. The squad for that third test has been announced, and a return to test match cricket for David Malan, who last played test match cricket in August 2018. Ebbs and Rob still alongside me. That's a good call-up for him. He's done well in all formats, hasn't he?
Look, someone who's handled pressure since he came into the England fold from T20. I remember him making his T20 debut here at Cardiff, performed consistently. And at the moment when England in a very different format they need confidence. They need players who are going to come in and can handle the pressure, handle the intensity. I think he's got that. The other thing is he hasn't played a huge amount of first-class cricket this year, but he got 199 against Sussex, so he'll have a little bit of confidence in the longer format of the game. For me, he's a match-winning cricketer. I also had a sneaky suspicion he might somehow get into the side ahead of the Ashes. So now he's getting his opportunity earlier than expected, and he'll be under pressure, but if he does perform, he could actually revive another part of his career.
Dom Sibley, of course, he's been dropped. England coach says hoping he can go back and regain some confidence.
Yeah, he can, but I was never picking Sibley in this series. He just doesn't play cricket, and this sounds harsh. He just doesn't play cricket the way I think you should do, because he's just someone who chews up balls. I know that's not important in Test cricket, but you've got to be able to counterpunch. You've got to be able to throw something back at the bowler. It is not just about hanging around there trying to take the shine off the ball. You've got to be able to go somewhere, and his upside is not great enough in that regard. So then you have to start picking people, and Hamid's got to prove that he's not that as well, because what you really got to do now, England, this is a team in transition with the bat. Has been for a long, long time. It's a very experienced bowling side, with the exception, obviously, Broad not being there. They've got to start making their bets and sticking with them now. So if that's Malan, that's absolutely fine. If he comes in at 3, I agree with what Ev says. I think he'll do fine in Australia as well. There's got to be a little bit of long-term planning and where they want to get to with this side. Not just thinking, oh, we've lost a test, we need to bring someone else in. Because this has been going on a while, and I know all the things about the schedule and all of that, but they still played 7 or 8 games before of championship cricket, before they played New Zealand, and they still got blown away, and they're still relying on Joe Root there. So they've got to start thinking, actually, this has been a long time coming, the batting lineup, because of the environment they play in county cricket, stuff like that. That's why we haven't got loads and loads of batsmen queuing up. It's not just because they haven't played red ball cricket. We have to change the way we do our system in 4-day cricket in particular, and then you'll start finding these batsmen come through, because I feel for them at the moment. It is so different, that international stuff, especially against India, from what they're seeing in county cricket.
And then you have a look at Joe Root, and he just keeps going, doesn't he? But it almost feels like a one-man show at the moment.
It's ridiculous the amount of runs he's scored. I saw a stat around he's scoring nearly 30% of the team runs, which hasn't been done since Bradman days. And you think, you know, I feel for him. I also feel for him from a tactical pressure and captain scenario. You saw on that 5th day in the test that he was under the pump when it came to that side of it. And I think he's got to reflect on how they go about it and almost keep things simple at times. But when it comes to the bat, he has been outstanding. He started it from the subcontinent in the winter. Remember, it was a year ago we were saying he was not converting, he wasn't scoring hundreds. Then all of a sudden he started double century, Sri Lanka and he's been outstanding. So he just needs anyone just to hang around with him and stand up. And you know, when you haven't got someone like Ben Stokes around the squad as well, who most might give you that, you know, a bit of resistance, but also that, I think, that extra confidence, then he's just going to need someone to come around. So I think someone like Malan is a good pick. Hopefully Ollie Pope finds some form if he gets that run as well. But look, after that last test, England have got a lot of thinking to do.
And against an Indian side, not just with their tails up, but with such consistent performances over the past couple of years, have a look at that top order for England. How would you get that together for the third test?
Well, I think what they'll do, and you've got to look at the players that they've picked in that squad. So then you're looking at Malan at 3, Hamid will open with Rory Burns. But then it's about who are the bets for the future? Who are the ones actually? Someone like Ollie Pope has to be that. He looks a fine young player who you invest in. Dan Lawrence, I like. Zach Crawley, who's gone back to Kent to find his form. They're the bets you have to do. You say, do you know what? They might not be there now, but they will be in the future. And you make that bet along the way. And that's the only way they can go, really, at the moment. I like the fact that Johnny Bairstow's back. He's looked good. So even if they don't succeed, you've got to work out who you think is going to have the game for the future in particular as well, because this Indian team, this is the best Indian team I've seen come to England. I mean, forget about the fact England aren't in the same place as they were a few years ago in Test cricket, but this is a proper Indian team. Bowling, batting, everything.
Yep.
Kohli hasn't fired yet with the bat, you know, but he just gives them something as well, even as a captain, that they haven't had before. As good at players as they've had in the past, this is as good as it gets for India. And I tell you what, they are coming out at this England team, and it's good to watch. I know what people say, they don't want to see kids going and sledging and stuff like that. But that Test match was unbelievable to watch for everything that was going on. It was great theatre.
I was going to say, player that's in that hat now, Saqib Mahmood. So, you know, we've all been watching him for a long time now. He's got the pace, he's got everything. The question is, could he be that three-format cricketer? And I'm just thinking, with the injury of Jimmy Anderson, he pulled through amazingly and performed in the Test as he did. But you start to think Mark Wood had a bit of a shoulder injury. He's not someone who's going to bowl back-to-back Tests. Ollie Robinson's back injuries out. Stuart Broad's got his nickel out. All of a sudden, you're like, he could go from 0 to Jofra Archer as well. Let's not forget how many bowlers are under the pump. So I was just going to say, his inclusion in this squad is pretty exciting for him, because he nails it. He stays fit. Again, Australia's another opportunity where, when they need a bit of pace and someone else, you know, he might have been thrown this opportunity a bit earlier in his career. Actually, he might not be quite ready as such, but if he can control his mental approach, do the simple things straight, keep the ball in the good areas, this could be a real acceleration for his career. We've seen now what he can do when he was part of that sort of England B-ish team in the white ball. But I think if he can now deliver in that red ball, he could just sneak himself in as a really valuable player for England long term.
But they're up against a team that are finding match winners all around that that Indian dressing room. It's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, I love watching people like Rohit Sharma bat, KL Rahul, stuff like that. And England have to mirror their captain in the way that he plays. Now, that's not easy to do, because he's one of the best players England's ever had. But you just can't go out there and block your way to try and beat this Indian team. It's not going to work. You have to be able to throw something back at them. You can't just go out there and just say, do you know what, we're just going to look to survive. You've got to come out there swinging, and that doesn't mean slogging, but it means just having a go and just going toe-to-toe at this Indian team. And then you might have a chance. They've been pretty close to them, actually, but just don't die wondering. Don't just sit there thinking we're just going to block the life out of it to try and get through and beat them. You're not going to do it.
I think mindset, if anything, is the one thing that stood out for me. The way Shami went about hitting a 50, I mean, his average was like nothing before that. But that was pure mindset. I have an intent. I don't care what you think my records say. He wanted to take the game to England. So I think it's actually about them taking the game, not in an aggressive way, not like the sort of short bombarding that we saw them do, more in a, we are going to put you consistently under pressure and ask you the questions back. There's a real battle ahead. I think India look the favourites. The fact that they're not playing Ashwin tells you how good they are. But England are going to find that mindset of wanting to dominate and be ruthless.